All right, Part 174, Subpart C, General Handling and Loading Requirements. General Requirements, 174.55, General Requirements. Each packet containing with a hazardous material being transported by the rail with the freight contained with the transportation of the vehicle must be loaded so that it cannot fall, slide, or must be safely regarded in such a manner that offer the freight cannot fall onto or slide into the under conditions normally incident with the transportation. When the protection cannot be provided by using the freight, it must be provided by the blocking and the bracing. For example, the blocking and bracing freight container transportation vehicles Bureau of Explosive Pamphlet number 6. The intermodular loading guide for the products for the closed trailers containers IBRC 171.7 with the subchapter. Each package containing the hazardous material bearing package or orientation marking is prescribed in 172.312. For the subchapter may be loaded with the transportation vehicle freight container to remain with the correct position indicated with these markers during the transportation. The doors of the freight container of the transportation vehicle may not be with the skirt of the load, and that includes package containing the hazard material unless the doors meet the design strength with the requirement specifications of M930 freight containers and M931 trailers. For the AAR specifications, specially equipped freight cars for the intermodal equipment, IBRC 171.7 with the subchapter of the load also limited with the design strength requirement of the doors. 174.57 cleaning cars. A hazardous material which has been leaked from the package in any railway car and on any other railroad property must be carefully removed. 174.59 Marking and plaque cards of the railway cars. No person may transport a railway car carrying hazardous material unless it is marked and plaque card as required by the subchapter. The plaque cards are contained cars certified and lawful for transportation replay for the next inspection point, but those required must be moved to the next terminal where the train is classified with the Canadian shipment. The required plaque cards lost in transportation must be replaced either by those required in Part 172 of the subchapter or other authorized in 171.12. 174.61 Transportation vehicle freighted with the containers on flat car. Transportation vehicle with the container for the package containing with the hazardous material must be designed, loaded so that it will not damage to the extent that would affect the integrity under the conditions normally incident with the transportation. Each of them must be secured on a flat car so that it cannot be permanently changed with position during transit. Package is of hazardous material contained therein. It must be loaded and braced and provided in Statute 174.101, 174.112, 174.115, 174.55. Plaque cards must be applied with the prescribed part of 172 subchapter and part 174. Except as provided in Statute 173.21, a truck, body, trailer, and freight container equipped with the heating of the refrigerating equipment which has fuel or any article clothed with a hazardous material may be loaded and transported on flat car part of the joint rail highway movement. The heating of the refrigerating equipment is considered to be a part of the truck body with the trailer and no subject with any other requirements for the subchapter. The truck body and the trailer freight container must be secured on the flat car so they cannot be changed during the transit. 174.63 portable tanks IM portable tanks IBCs large packaging cargo tanks multiple tank car tanks. Carrier may not be transport bulk packaging portable IM portable tanks IBC large packaging cargo tanks multiple unit tanker car containing hazardous material with the container of the flat car trailer on the flat car. Service except for the authorized the section unless the author approved of the transportation with the Association of Administrative Safety of the FRA. The bulk packaging container of the hazardous material, including IM 101 and IM 102, they appropriate according to dimension of the weight distribution may be transported inside the fully closed transport vehicle. Fully closed freight container provided with the properly secured with a resistant system that will prevent it from changing position of the sliding in the other package with the containing the slide or end walls, including doors and other conditions normally incident with the transportation. When not transported within conforms with any end subject for the paragraph B of the section, the bulk package for the be transported with a COFC or served with the COFC subject to the following conditions applicable. Packaging contains the material packaged in accordance with the statute 173, 241, 240, and 242 and 243 of the subchapter. Tank of the flat car must apply with the applicable requirements for the hazard material regulations granted with these specifications. The trailer on flat car served with the trailer chassis conformed with the requirements of paragraphs 3, 4, 5, and 6 of the AR specification M943 container chassis for the trailer on flat car service in the AR specification with the specially equipped freight cars and intermodal equipment. For the container on flat cars, for the container support with the requirements of the system with the conform with the requirements specification M952 for the intermodal container support with the security system with the freight cars for the AR specification, specially equipped freight cars and intermodal equipment. If transported with the well car, the tanker cannot be in double stack configurations. No freight container portable tank is placed in the above or the below the tank, and the tank is transported with the well with the outlet valve facing outward toward the end of the well, and away from the adjacent tank of the container. All security fittings must be fully engaged with the lock position with the provided. However, the tank of the transported well card must be loaded with the well appropriate for the length of the container. Any avoided loaded filling devices present must be secured with the design appropriate position approval. Effective with February 20th, 1991, transportation portable tanks of the IM portable tanks in the trailer on flat cars, container on flat cars, service expires on the date stated in approval letter of the June 15th, 1995. Which is later. A carrier must not transport cargo tank, multiple unit tanker car tank and contain with the hazardous material in the transportation trailer on flat car, container on flat car. Service unless approved by the search for the administrative safety of the FRA. However, in the event of the accident incident, such approval is necessary for the transportation cargo tank with the containing hazardous material trailer on flat car under the following conditions. There is an emergency need for the cargo tank in order to negotiate and mitigate the consequences of an incident. Movement of the cargo tank is limited to transportation necessary for the emergency purposes. All right, 174-67, tanker car unloading. The transportation operation following the rules of the gate must be observed. The general requirements: unloading operation must be performed with the hazmat employees properly instructed with the unloading the hazardous material and made responsible for compliance with this section. Each hazardous employee who is responsible for unloading must apply the handbrake and block at least one wheel to prevent the movement in any direction. Multiple tank cars are coupled together. The sufficient handbrakes must be set with the wheels blocked to prevent the movement in both directions. Each hazmat employee who is responsible for the unloading of the must secure with the access of the track to prevent entry to the other railway equipment, including motorized service vehicle. With the requirement that may be satisfied by lining of each switch, providing access for the unloading in the area with against movement and servicing each switch with the effective locking device by using derailed portable bumper blocks, other equipment that has provided the equivalent level of safety. Each hazmat employee who is responsible for unloading must display with the caution sign with the tracks on the tanker car warn persons approaching with the cars with the opening end of the track and must be left up until the closure or secure and our cars are in proper condition for the transportation. Caution signs of the must be metal with the other durable material, rectangular, at least 12 inches high by 15 inches wide, bear the word stop, and the word stop must be a pair and letters of 4 inches high. The letters must be white and on a blue background. Additional words such as tanker car connected or crew at work must also appear in the white letters under the word stop. The transportation facility operator must maintain the written safety procedures such as those already required to maintain pursuant to the Department of Labor's Occupational Safety and Health Administration requirements, Title 29 using AFR 1910-119 or 1910-120 in location where they are immediately available with the hazmat employees responsible for the transportation loading operation. Before a manhole cover outlet valve cap is removed with the tanker car, the car must be relieved of all interior pressure for the cooling tank with the water tank venting with the tank with the raising the safety valve, opening of the dome with the short intervals. However, the vent of the relief pressure will cause the dangerous amount of the vapor to collect outside of the car. Venting and unloading must be deferred until the pressure is reduced, allowing the car to stand overnight and otherwise cooling the contents of the vehicle, venting the enclosed collection system. These precautions are not necessary within the car equipped with those manhole with the hinges inward with the inward manhole cover, which does not have removed and unloaded with the car when pressure is relieved. The piping vapor is into a condenser and storage tank. After the pressure is relieved with the unloading, the pressure required for the removal of the manhole for the seal must be broken. The manhole cover removed as follows. Alright, your screw type. The cover must be loosened with placing a bar between the manhole covering the lugs and the knob. And after two complete turns so that the vent opens exposed and the operation must be stopped. If there is any sound escaping the vapor, the cover must be screwed down tightly and interior pressure relief prescribed in paragraph 86 of this section before attempting to remove the cover. Hinge and bolt type. All nuts must be unscrewed with one complete turn, after which the same precautions are prescribed with the screw type. The cover must be observed. 3. Interior type. All dirt and cinders must be carefully removed from around the cover before the yoke is unscrewed. C. When a car is unloaded with the bottom outlet valve of the unloading process, require the removal of the manhole cover. The manhole cover must be adjusted as follows. Screw type. The cover must be put in place but not entirely screwed down so that there may enter the tank throughout the vent holes in the threaded flanges of the cover. Hinge and bolt type. The non-metallic block must be placed under the edge of the cover. The interior type of the screw must be tightened up so the yoke and the cover is brought up within 1/2 inch of the closed position. When loading the bottom outlet with a car, equipped with the interior manhole type at the cover of each of the case with the unloading with its dome through the manhole, unless especially covered the safety vent with the opening of the tightly connected with the discharge outlet is used. The manhole must be protected with the asbestos metal covered against the entrance of sparks and other sources of ignition vapor by the being covered with the surrounding the wet burlap, similar cloth material. The burlap or other cloth must be kept damp with the replacement of the application of the water as needed. The seals and other substances must be known, not be thrown into the tank, but the contents may not be spilled over the car tank. The valve rod handle for the control of the dome must be operated several times to see that the outlet valve at the bottom of the tank is onto the seal for the seat before the valve is rekept moved. The valve cap of the reducer, which a large outlet is used to move the suitable wrench after the set screws are loosened. The pail must be placed in position to catch any liquid that may be in the outlet of the chamber. The valve cap of the reducer does not unscrew easily. May be tapped lightly in the mallet wooden block with the upward direction of the cell. See, the leakage shows on storage. Starting with the removal of the cap reducer may be entirely unscrewed. Sufficient threads must be left engaged in sufficient time allowed to permit the controlled escape of any accumulation of the liquid in the outlet chamber. If the leakage stops at the rate leakage diminishes materially, the cap of the reducer may be entirely removed. If the entire initial rate of the leakage continues, further efforts must be made to seat out the valve. See the paragraph F of this section. If this fails, the cap reducer must be screwed up tight and tank must be unloaded through the dome. If the open with the removal of the outlet cap of the outlet chamber is found with the block with the frozen liquid any other matter, the cap must be replaced immediately. With a careful examination must be made to determine when the outlet cast has been cracked. If the obstruction is not frozen liquid, it's not frozen liquid, the car must be unloaded from the dome. If the obstruction is frozen liquid and no crack has been found with the outlet casting, the car must be circumstances require unloaded from the bottom by removing the cap, attaching the unloaded connections immediately before opening the valve inside of the tank car with the frozen liquid blockage. A steam must be applied to the outside of the outlet case casting. Of the outlet casting may be wrapped in burlap, other rags, hot water applied to the warm wrap casting to melt the frozen liquid, or for combustible liquids, Class 3 liquid and petroleum distillate fuel, the blockage may be cleared up with attaching and fitting with the outlet line, applying the nitrogen to the pressure not exceeding 100 psi. Unloading connections must be securely attached to unloading the pipes and the dome of the bottom discharge of the outlets here before any of the discharge are open. Throughout the entire period of the unloading of the while the tank of the car unloading attachment facilitator must ensure the tank of the car is one attendant with a designated with a hazmat employee who is physically present, who has an obstructive view has an unobstructed view of the unloading operation. Monitored by signal system, video system, sensing equipment, and mechanical equipment that is observed by the designated with the hazmat employee located either immediately area of the tank area car, remote location of the facility, such as a control room. Signal system must provide a level of surveillance equivalent to provide subparagraph 1 of this paragraph I. Provide immediate notification designated hazmat employee system malfunction with other emergencies so that warranted responsive action may be initiated immediately. J. Attends to not required with the piping attached to the top of the outlet of the tank car, equipped with the protective housing required within Statute 179-100 through 12, subchapter the discharge of the landing under the following conditions. All valves are tightly closed and the piping is not connected to the flows for the unloading equipment is fitted with a cap of the plug appropriate of material construction. Through the piping extends no more than 6 inches from the outer edge of the protective housing. If the absence of the unloader, the tank car stands unloading connections attached for the non-product is being transferred under the following condition. The facility operator must designate the hazmat employee responsible for the on-site monitor over the transfer. Facility with the designated hazmat employee must be made familiar with the nature and property of the product contained within the tanker car. Procedures to be followed in the event of emergency. In the event of emergency, have the ability and authority to make the responsible action when the signal system is in accordance with the paragraph 1 of the section. System must be capable of alerting designated hazmat employee in the event of emergency provision, immediately notification, any modification, any monitoring self-malfunction. Any monitoring system does not have self-monitoring capability. The designated hazmat employee must check the monitoring system hourly properly. For proper operation, the tanker car facility must shut off the valves before must be secured in closed position. Brackets must be set with the wheels locked in accordance with the paragraph A to E2. Access for the track must be secured in accordance with paragraph A3 of this section. All right. L. As soon as the tanker car is completely unloaded, all valves must be made tightly and use a bar wrench with a suitable tool. Unloading the connections must be removed and all the other closures made tight. The railroad defect cars may not move the moved. Remove the oil or gasoline has been spilled on the ground around the connections. It must be covered with the fresh or dry sand, dirt. All tools and implementation used for the connection unloading must be kept free of oil and dirt and grit. Or 174.81, segregation of hazard material. The section applied with the materials which meet one or more of the hazards classified and defined in the subchapter and packages which are required to label the placard and provision for the statute 172 subchapter. When the railway car transported via vessel, other hazard material within the railway car must be stowed and segregated in the accordance with the statute 176A3B of the subchapter. Separate provision statute 173.12E of the subchapter clean cyanide mixtures and solutions may not be stored or loaded or transported with acids. Division 4.2 materials may not be stored or loaded or transported with this class 8 liquids. Division 6.1 packaging group 1 hazardous zone. The material may not be stored or loaded and transported with the class 3 military class 8 liquids. Division 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 5.1, and 5.2 material except otherwise provided in subchapter has material must be stored, loaded, and transported in accordance with the following table and other provisions in this section. Everything shows the table. So instruction for the segregation table of the hazard in paragraph D of the section are filed with the absence of any of the hazardous division the blanks surveyed the table indicates the non-restriction applied. The letter X indicates the materials may not be loaded, transported, stored together with the same railway car storage facility and during the course of the transportation. Letter O, table indication for the material may not be loaded, transported, or stored with any of the same railway storage facility during the transportation, unloaded, unless separated within this manner. In the event of the leakage of the passage under the normal conditions, incidentally, transportation commingling with a hazardous material will not occur, but notwithstanding with the method of separation employed in Class 8 corrosive liquids may not be above or adjacent to the Class 4 flammable or Class 5 oxidizing material, except for the shippers may not may load, carload, shipped and such materials which, with known with the mixture content, would not cause fire danger as evolution of heat or gas. The star table indicates the segregation among different classes of the Class 1 explosives material governed by the capability of the table in paragraph F of the section. The note A with the second column of the table meets the notwithstanding the requirements of the letter X. Ammonia and nitrate fertilizer may be loaded with the store with the Division 1 explosives, Division 1-5 materials. Alright, when 172.101 and 172.402, but the subject required for the package of the subsidiary hazard segregation appropriate for the subsidiary hazard applied, but the segregation is more restrictive than those required with the primary hazard. However, the hazard material, same the classes, may be loaded with the transported together without regard to segregation required. Any secondary hazard material are not capable of reacting with the dangers of each other, but the causing combustion with the dangerous evolution of heat and of flame. Poisonous and exiguous gases or formation of the corrosive and unstable material. Class F. Class 1 explosives may be loaded and transported and stored together except provided in this section according to the following table. G. Instruction used with the compatible table of the Class 1 material for the materials after the restriction is filed. The blank space for the table indicate that no restriction. Letter X indicate that the explosive is different, but the compatible group may not be carried. Same rail car unless packed with the separate freight containers. 2. With the more freight containers mounted upon the same rail car, the number for the table means that 1 means the explosives must be compatible with group L and may only be carried on the same railway car. Incident with explosives 2 means the combination of the explosive with the capability C, D, and E with the time of the compatible group. 3 means the combination of explosive with compatible group C, D, and E with is compatible with the group N is signed with the compatible group D. 4 means the detonator and detonator primers Division 1 4S explosives may not be loaded in the same car with the Division 1 2 explosive material. Class 5, 5 means the Division 147 fireworks may not be loaded in the same car with the Division 112, 11, and 112 explosive materials. 6 means the explosive article for the compatible with the group G with other than fireworks requiring special stowage may be loaded with the transport of the articles compatible with the group C and D and E with no explosive substances carried with the same rail car. Subject provided in paragraph of the section provide with the same capability with the group of the different divisions transported together provide with the whole shipment of the transported is within the entire content with a lowering number to normal numerical division 1 being lower than Division 1-2. Example to make shipment of 1-2 with explosive material. The Division 1-2 explosive material compatibility group must be transported in Division 1-2 explosive materials. Alright, when Division 125 is compatible with Group D, the transport of the same freight container as Division 1-2 explosive material is compatible with Group D. The shipment must be transported as Division 1-1 explosive material compatible with Group D. Alright, Subpart D, handling placard, rail car, transportation vehicle, freight containers.